This presentation has been developed to increase understanding of SAGE tests and reports. Specifically, 3 questions will be addressed in this presentation. First, why were these new end-of-year assessments developed? Second, how were these new assessments developed? And third, what are the initial results from these new assessments? 3 questions frame the purpose for developing new end-of-year assessments. These questions are, first of all, what do parents and educators want students to know and be able to do by the time they graduate from high school? Second, what can parents and educators do to help students be prepared for their futures after high school graduation? And third, what can we provide along the way to help students see their progress towards being prepared for their lives after high school? Consider this, if you would. For each of the past 8 years, an average of 57% of Jordan District graduates have enrolled in college sometime during the school year immediately following their graduation from high school. For example, 57% of the 2011 graduates and 60% of the 2012 graduates enrolled in college during the year following their graduation from Jordan District high schools. Let's look more closely at the class of 2011. Of the 57% of the 2011 graduates who enrolled in college, 70% of them, or 40% of the 2011 graduates, returned for a second or sophomore year of college. Now, let's look at another graduating class, the class of 2007. 58% of Jordan School District's 2007 graduates enrolled in college during the first year after their graduation. After 6 years, only 41% of those who enrolled in college had actually graduated from college with an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, or a high school or higher college degree. This constitutes 24% of all of the class. These facts lead us to ask 2 important questions. First, why are more students not enrolled in college after high school? And second, why are more students not achieving college degrees? Could one reason be that the students are not academically prepared for college upon graduation from high school? It's interesting to note that the ACT High School Profile Report for the graduating class of 2007 reported that only 25% of high school or Jordan District students who took the ACT met all 4 benchmarks for being college ready. Now, consider this. In June 2013, Georgetown University published a recovery report indicating that between the years of 2010 and 2020, the total enrollment in the United States, the total employment in the United States will increase by about 24 million. This report noted that a total of 55 million jobs would be opening, with 24 million of these being new jobs and the remaining 31 million being replacement jobs, most of them as a result of baby boomers' retirement. Of the 55 million job openings between 2010 and 2020, 11% will require a master's degree or higher, 24% will require a bachelor's degree, 12% an associate's degree, 18% some college but not necessarily a degree, and 24% a high school diploma, and 12% less than a high school diploma. If you look closely at these numbers, 65% of all job openings will require some amount of post-secondary education training upon employment. It's of interest to note that in 1973, workers with post-secondary education held only 28% of all jobs. In 2010, the percentage of workers with post-secondary education had increased to 59%. The Georgetown University report also noted that judgment decision-making, communications, analysis, and administration will be the 4 most in-demand competencies in the labor market. The report also indicates that the need for physical skills has declined over time except for near vision, which is necessary to read computer screens and other types of documents. The Georgetown report concludes that the U.S. will fall short by 5 million workers with post-secondary education at the current rate by the year 2020. SAGE assessments were developed to help students, teachers, and parents understand students' progress towards developing the higher order thinking skills they will need to succeed in college and in their future careers. In addition to the foundational thinking skills of remembering and understanding, higher order thinking skills include the ability to apply knowledge gained in new ways, the ability to break the concept into parts and understand how those parts relate to one another, the ability to make judgments based upon a set of guidelines, and the ability to put information together in innovative ways. Here are examples of a former CRT and a current SAGE math assessment question. The new example item from the current SAGE math assessment on the right requires higher order thinking skills to answer correctly than the former CRT multiple choice question on the left. Students' ability to effectively apply higher order thinking skills will continue to play an increasingly greater role in their technological lives, both for education and for employment. Many popular computer software programs used in education and in employment today utilize the higher order thinking skills of understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. In order to be able to measure the kinds of knowledge and skills students would need to be ready for future education and future careers, a next generation assessment was needed. Realizing this, the 2012 Utah Legislature passed House Bill 15 requiring the development of a computer adaptive assessment, and in 2013, the Utah State Board of Education directed the development of the Student Assessment of Growth and Excellence, or SAGE. Each SAGE test question went through multiple process of development. Prior to their use, the items were created in a development committee. They were next checked for fairness with a bias and sensitivity committee. They were then reviewed for the appropriateness by a parents committee, and all of this occurred before the assessments were given. Following an operational field test, student responses were viewed for correct scoring, criteria for writing scoring was determined, and data was reviewed for statistical anomalies. And finally, the test was taken a look at for setting proficiency benchmarks. Spring of 2014 marked the first administration of the operational field test of the new SAGE computer adaptive assessments. The parent committee that reviewed SAGE test questions was made up of 15 parents. These 15 parents were selected by government leaders. At least 2 parents reviewed each of the 11,773 questions that were created, and some parents viewed all of the questions. The new SAGE assessment was designed to be computer adaptive. In a computer adaptive assessment, correct answers lead to more challenging questions, while incorrect answers lead to less challenging questions. More challenging questions require students to apply higher order thinking skills to solve the questions. To take a training test or to see similar questions to those on the SAGE test, go to the website noted here. SAGE test results are reported using scaled scores and proficiency levels. A scaled score shows the student's performance on a test converted to a common scale. For SAGE tests, scale scores range from 100 to 900. Mathematics and English language arts scale scores are also aligned vertically, enabling grade-to-grade data on student growth over time. An example of this would be to determine the growth from 3rd grade language arts to 4th grade language arts. SAGE science assessments do not include a vertical scale because proficiency in one grade or course does not necessarily rely on content from the previous grade or course. For example, chemistry to physics. This slide here illustrates the vertical alignment of mathematics scaled scores. Again, this alignment makes possible the determination of academic growth from one grade to the next. Proficiency levels indicate a student's progress towards being ready for college and future careers, while a scaled score indicates a student's individual level of what he or she knows and is able to do. The proficiency level interprets the scaled score into one of the following categories: highly proficient, proficient, approaching proficient, and below proficient. Students whose scale score falls within the level of 3 or 4 are considered to be proficient or on track for being college and career ready. Students whose scale score falls within the proficiency levels of 1 and 2 are considered to not yet be proficient and not yet on track for being college and career ready after high school. Former CRT's definition of proficiency looked at proficiency in terms of students' attainment of basic grade-level academic skills in language arts, math, and science. Proficiency levels were titled minimal, partial, sufficient, and substantial. Students at levels 3 and 4 were designated as being proficient in or having obtained basic grade-level academic skills in the subject area. Students whose levels were in 1 or 2 were designated as not being proficient or as not having attained basic grade-level academic skills in the subject area. As earlier noted, the SAGE definition of proficiency addresses students' progress toward being college and career ready. Again, these proficiency levels are as follows: below proficient, approaching proficient, proficient, and highly proficient. And once again, students whose scaled scores are in the levels 3 or 4 are considered to be on track for college and career readiness upon graduation from high school, while those who are in levels 1 or 2 are not yet on track for being ready for college and careers after high school. One might ask this question: can SAGE test results be compared to former CRT test results? Well, both SAGE tests and former CRTs measure academic knowledge and skills, but each does so differently. Comparing SAGE results to CRT results cannot be reasonably done because the definition of proficiency levels has changed. SAGE tests require a higher level of performance in order to be proficient than former CRTs. Imagine, if you will, a test that evaluates a student's running speed. In the past, where we may have told a student that her running speed was fast enough, we now have a higher expectation and a more rigorous test. This same student is now expected to not only run faster, but also to do so while jumping over hurdles. In the academic world, fast enough means being on track for college and career readiness upon the end of high school. The definition of proficiency has been raised. As expected, fewer students are being reported as being proficient. Lower proficiency scores on SAGE reports do not mean that students suddenly know less or that teachers are suddenly teaching less. The bar measuring expectations on the learning continuum has been raised. In other words, a lower proficiency score on a SAGE report is not an indication of a decrease in student achievement, but rather it reflects an increase in expectations. When looking at an individual student's SAGE report, 2 areas are very important to note. The first is the area shown here in the red circle. This area shows the student's scaled score and proficiency level for the test. The bar graph also shows the student's position within the proficiency level. Finally, the report contains a description of the skills the student should know and be able to do because of their scoring on that proficiency level. The second important area of the SAGE report is shown in this circle. In this area, the student's scale score for each of the reporting categories of the test are shown, along with a plus, minus, or equal sign showing the student's performance in that category relative to the student's overall score. Students' individual SAGE results will help determine where students are with regard to developing higher order thinking skills in English language arts, math, and science. Using SAGE test results, we are better able to focus instruction on strengthening students' development of higher order thinking skills. SAGE test results will also help us ensure that students understand the prerequisite knowledge needed to build their capacity for new learning. By using SAGE test results and differentiated instructional strategies, we can work to meet the individual learning needs of students with lower test scores. In order to make sure that students are able to show the knowledge and thinking skills that they have learned, we need to make sure that the students are familiar with computer technology that is used in SAGE assessments, and that they are provided with opportunities to become increasingly familiar on how to respond to the different types of questions. As we work with students to develop their knowledge level, their ability to use higher order thinking skills, it is expected that SAGE test results will increase over time. Additional information in SAGE testing and SAGE test reports can be found online at this website. From here, one would select Departments. Then choose Assessments. Finally, once in Assessment, look at SAGE Communication Resources. Here, multiple resources are available to help understand the SAGE assessments, including a very important one here, the SAGE Student Level Parent Family Guide, which will help students and parents better understand the individual student's SAGE test report. This guide is provided in both English and Spanish. To assist state, district, and school level SAGE test to access state, district, and school level SAGE test results, again, we go back to USOE's website, and then we select the Data Gateway. Next, we select the SAGE link from this location. What is next displayed is the percentage of students statewide whose SAGE test scores were proficient in each of the 3 subject areas, language arts, math, and science. These percentages also are represented in a bar graph below the table. By selecting a district or charter school from the drop-down menu shown here, the percentage is changed to show the proficiency results for that district or charter school. In addition, the bar graph displays both the state and the district or charter school's proficiency results. If a specific school is selected from this drop-down menu, that school's SAGE proficiency performance is displayed in the percentage windows, along with a third set of bar graphs in order to compare the school's performance to those of the district and the state. Finally, if a specific grade is selected, this table and graphs adjust to reflect only the data from that specific grade. In summary, first, the following 5 points are noted. First, to help students prepare for future college and career opportunities, a new assessment was needed that could measure students' development of higher order thinking skills and problem-solving skills. Second, former CRT assessments assessed students' basic grade-level academic skills. SAGE tests assess students' progress toward being prepared for college and/or careers after high school. Third, as their purposes and meanings are so different, comparing former CRT scores with current SAGE scores cannot be meaningfully done. Fourth, because SAGE assessments are more challenging than former CRT tests, we expect students' initial SAGE proficiency scores to be lower than former CRT proficiency scores. And fifth, information is available online at www.schools.utah.gov to better understand individual students' SAGE reports and to examine and compare state, district, school, and grade level SAGE performance. For more information about this presentation, please contact Clyde Mason, Director of Evaluation, Research, and Accountability for the Jordan School District. Thank you.